We're covering the first Pendulum deck on this channel. We're talking about Zefra, the easily searchable Negate turbo deck that has some of the funniest gimmicks in the game. Zefra's goal is to set up 2+ Negates and/or a strong floodgate, as well as searching cyber-stein directly from the deck to set up insane extra deck floodgates. Let's get into the deck list. This is the list I've been working on. It comes in on the more expensive end, requiring 20 URs, 8 of which are unique, and 21 SRs, 16 of which are unique. That's 600 UR points and 630 SR points. Now, let's put this deck into a more viewable format. Our first goal every turn is going to be to establish Pendulum scales. We're not going to use our normal summon, so we can cyber-stein later. This means skipping on the immediate Electromite, like in other Pendulum decks. Typically, we want Zefra and any other Pendulum monster. Zefra and the Pendulum scale lets us send one Zefra monster from deck to extra deck, then you can copy that monster's scale. For Pendulum summon, we usually want to summon Zefranu and Zefraxi, the two Yang Zing Zefras. Zefranu lets us search Zefra or Yang Zing spell or trap on his Pendulum summon or his destruction. Zefraxi on his Pendulum summon turns another Zefra into a tuner monster. This lets us make a sweet level 9 synchro monster. And I bet you can see where this is going. No, not that. I don't have brain damage yet. Our other 5 Zefra Pendulum monsters exist to be flex options and other scale names. The Satellarch Knights are removal options on the normal or Pendulum summons. Zefrabron destroys one of your Zefra cards to destroy one of your opponent's face-up cards. Zefraxitron does the same but for face-down cards. Zefridni adds a Zefra from the extra deck to the hand. Zeframpilica adds a Zefra from grave to hand. Zeframpilica doesn't come up often, but she's a low scale, so it's worth it to run one. Backing up the Zefra engine, we have Zefra Providence and Oracle of Zefra. Zefra Providence searches any Zefra card. If you don't have 2 Zefra scales, it can be used to search a Zefrath or another Zefra scale. But if your hand is already charged, you can use it to search your Floodgate Zefra Path or your Omni-Negate Zefra Divine Strike. More on those later. In Graveyard, Zefra Providence can banish itself to protect the Zefra card. Oracle of Zefra, on place, searches a Zefra monster. But what makes this card really special, its ability to gain effects depending on what type of extra deck summon is performed. The important one here is the Synchro Summon ability that lets you stack the top card of your deck. Well, it's too bad there aren't any Synchro monsters that let us draw cards on summon, or else we'd be able to search any card in our deck. Wait a minute, there's a level 9 Synchro monster that I happen to be running in this deck. Ravenous Croco Dragon Arceus draws 1 on summon. If we put these 2 cards together, we can search any card in the deck. This deck has one of the best searches in the game. Now, I'll mention our search target. Cyber-stein. Cyber-stein lets us pay 5,000 life points to special summon 1 fusion monster from the extra deck. We're going to summon Naturia Exterio to negate all spell and trap cards our opponents activates. This mainly lets us play around removal options you'd see like Lightning Storm, but it also specifically screws over Eldlich, and that gives me energy. Astrograph Sorcerer is a free summon and search thanks to Electromite. Destrudo, the Lost Dragon's Frisson, is a really good extender for the deck. It lets us access a fun array of synchro monsters in our extra deck. Or you can just become link fodder and make a free Halki Fibrax. Zefra Path and Zefra War are the 2 less talked about Zefra cards. Zefra Path can only be activated if you have Zefra scales, and it shuffles all non-Zefra monsters you control into the extra deck. But the card has the effect of preventing all special summoning except from the hand or extra deck. This card screws over so much of the meta, it's not even funny. Eldlich almost cannot play the game with this card active, unless they have a Golden Lord in hand. If you can't tell, I'm tired of Eldlich. Zefra Path also comes with its own built-in protection too. It can't be targeted while you have a card in your Pendulum zone. This card is nuts and searchable, so we can get away with only running 1. Zefra Path, on the other hand, is a really neat hand trap. It lets you pop a Zefra card you control to pop a card your opponent controls. But what makes it worth running is that it can be activated from hand if you have Pendulum Scales live. This is a very unique out that gets us out of some sticky situations modern Yu-Gi-Oh places in. Cough cough, Imperial Order, cough cough. Our 2 negates are Zefra Divine Strike and 9 Pillars of the Yang Zing. The Zefra counter trap is a banish or face-up Zefra monsters from extra deck to negate and destroy. 9 Pillars pops a Yang Zing you control to negate and shuffle a card back into the deck. 9 Pillars is the stronger trap 9 out of 10 times due to how brutally hard it can be to pull cards back out of a deck. For example, it stops True Draco spells and their engraved destruction effect. We're running the Odd Eyes extra deck package because it's quite funny and combos well with Astrograph Sorcerer for a big extender play. Overlaying in the Absolute gives us Vortex Dragon when he leaves the field. Odd Eyes Meteor lets us pull out scales to help extend our plays. Typically, the full line is done by making Odd Eyes Meteor Burst after Pendulum summoning, then using Destrudo whenever you pulled out a Pendulum scale to make Yazi. Then you can overlay for Odd Eyes Absolute. It's a bit of a long con combo, but it's pretty funny if it goes off. Our Yang Zing cards give us pretty solid removal options. Yazi with another self pop to pop 1 card your opponent controls, and Chalfang, when he's summoned, can bamboozle the fuck out of the random player playing Earth Machines. But more importantly, all of the Yang Zing Synchro monsters have recursion for Yang Zing monsters from the deck. When they're destroyed, Yazi searches back our main deck boys for more synchro summoning, and Chalfang can search any tuner, so we're going to be grabbing a Destrudo. Ravenous Croco Dragon Arceus is our main synchro summoning target, but he also has a discard 2 pop 1 quick effect, so leaving it on the field as a plan C or plan B option isn't awful. Lina is an easy link climbing option. Electromite lets us use Astrogolf combo with Button Zefra. It's a very clean +1 combo. Hauxlean and Axis Code Talker are an easy OTK pressure line. Halqifibrax summon Effect Veiler from deck, then you can make Celine reviving Effect Veiler, then you can make Axis Code Talker with tons of links engraved. Bulbasaur Dragon is another card to make for a link 4 to OTK with, and Zephyr Metatron is honestly pretty meh, but it is a banish in the extra deck, and that's worth running it at 1. This deck's matchups feel quite a bit all over the place. This deck hurts graveyard decks and decks that like special summoning from the deck a lot. Zombies and BA struggle with this deck's boards, but on the other side of the pendulum, decks like Drytron don't care and will run right through you. This deck's 2-ish negates just aren't enough sometimes. Now, on to the segment of a deck profile where I show y'all some games to show off this deck's potential. All games are taken from Platinum, and this time by request, I'm going to be commentating, but do give me some leeway if it's not perfect. So this first game is against Dangers. As you can see, we're playing a Supreme King Darkworm engine, which I used to think was better. After testing, I realized we really don't want to get to the Electromite through that method, because it also requires another piece and some more potential bricks. In this game, you can see I did hit the max C, so we did just stop his plays immediately. In this hand, I'm just going for the pretty simple pendulum spam option. And we're going to set up for the full combo to just lock him out. And just like that, we did the combo. Luckily we do just tutor here, so we can go ahead and make Needle Fiber to Halqifibrax to help go for damage. Although, as you can see, I had banished Effect Veiler off of the Pot of Desires, so we're going to make Bulbasaur Dragon. First misplay, starting off immediately. I am stupid and misused Bulbasaur Dragon and missed game. Now I'm about to make a really harsh call, right? By deciding to discard and destroy there, we took the risk of our opponent only having BA monsters and not having a danger to follow up on it. I happen to be right, but you can't always guarantee that. This is a pretty good hand we have here, and as you can see, we're just doing standard combos. I have foregone trying to make Zefra plays, and just going for the cheap setup negate into Naturia Exterio. And can you see that? Can you guess what deck this is we're playing against? It's True Dracos. You can tell because they always do the set 3 thing first. Really, he had no need to activate Part of Demise here, but he seemed to be pretty desperate. As I said, this deck shreds Spell and Trap Reliant decks due to how broken cyber-stein and Naturia Exterio are. Now in this game, you see I played Oracle of Zefra first. This is because the Zefra search is usually less valuable than the Pot of Desires. It's weird, I know. But this is because it's a Pendulum deck, and more cards in hand means more fuel. And while it would be nice to guarantee that one specific card you need, Zefrath gives us the flexibility to make sure we don't have to do that. We can really go with anything here. here I am doing the combo again, because it is a really stupid combo. But funnily enough, Pot of Desires, I have banished my play yet again. So we're just gonna search Maxi and be toxic. Now I had misplayed a little here, right? I could have Zefra striked the Numeron wall, but I decided to wait to hit one of these guys for a bit more punch. Luckily for me, this didn't backfire, because he did kind of misplay horribly. Check this out. He started by attacking into his own kaiju for some reason, instead of just trying to hit over my defense position monster. And the one time he did, he forgot about Zefra Providence. See here, because one of his own guys got destroyed, he now can no longer make Apollosa. So he's stuck going into a one material Zeus, and he's gonna lose the game from that. Here I'm going into Electromite. This is gonna let us do the Astrograph Sorcerer combo for free value. Typically you want to pop the non-Zefra scale, but in this case, since we already have a Satellarch Knight in hand, we can't. So instead, we're just going to do this. This is a weird play from him. He's gammaing the Selene. But if you paid attention, all I'm doing with the Selene is trying to link climb. I couldn't revive anything off of Selene. Like, there's no spellcasters. Toons, am I right? Oh, he's about to get deleted. And this is a game I chose just for a simple demonstration of the combo. I like including one of this type of game in all of my videos so you can really see what the deck does at maximum. It's not every game you do this. This is against Toons, mind you. But it does demo pretty well. See here I activated Zefra Path before going into all my non-Zefra cards. This is because Zefra Path bounces everything else, so you want to make sure you can do that. Fun fact though, Zefra Path stops Omega from going off, unless you have the Cyframe normal monster in hand. Now we're just going to direct attack. This point in the game, he really can't do anything, and he's just gonna scoop. This game, I'm speeding up, because I've been getting a lot of negative feedback about how I'm not showing meta games going second. And that's because they either go one of two ways. You either open enough hand traps to stop them, or this happens. We're about to see a really fun time for all. This is really why I want there to be a side deck for Master Duel. Because if I had more specific hand traps to counter this, I could do a lot better. I normally don't advocate for stalling, but after a player does a big long combo play like that, you're going to want to give them 5 minutes to really work some stuff out. Well, they're Yu-Gi-Oh players, so probably way shorter than that, but I think stalling here is a good idea. Rhongomyniad just says your opponent cannot play the game. You can see I'm attempting to do everything I could activate from my hand, and it is not enough. For this, what you'd really want to side deck is Nibiru. It's really about it. Nibiru or Maxi could maybe get you out of this, but it is really luck-based, as a lot of matchups are. Ash Blossom can probably stop the Rhongomyniad if you time it right, but I didn't see any, so this is what happens. And now my opponent is going to waste 2 hours of everyone's time making sure to pop every card on my field by making a single XC monster 20 times in a row. We don't win every game. This is another game where we get to go first. We're going to start doing pretty standard Zefra combos, and our opponent's going to go ahead and maxi us. Now, I'm taking the bet here that my opponent cannot play through a full Zefra board. You shouldn't take this bet. I just so happened to be right this game, and it paid off big time. And then cyber-stein is going to make Materia Exterior. Infinite spell and trap negates. And one Omni negate. And our opponent's playing Eldlich Generator. I believe this is basically the best combination to play through a maxi challenge into. We're going first here. We're going to make the hard call of discarding 2 to pop 1. I'm going to get rid of that field spell. Now I'm going to go ahead and Pendulum Summon for more free stuff. Get another spell and trap search. Now, he's going to make a really weird call here of adding horror, which just, without the token, strikes me as the objectively wrong thing to search. I played a lot of generators when I was playing about a year or so back, and typically in this situation he'd want to search Martel and hope not to die. Because judging by the fact he didn't set anything, he has all level 9 monsters in hand. Now we're going to go ahead and link climb into the classic access code talker. And you're gonna watch me not read Golden Lord. As a Yugioh player, I cannot legally read. And here you go. You can see he only had level 9 monsters in hand because he's playing generators, and probably either got extremely unlucky or had a really heavy rank or level 9 engine. This is a fun game. You get to see a really wacky deck in Magistus, and they're going to do some really cool plays I don't usually see from the deck. And we're going to have to play second to a board. We're actually in a bit of a weaker spot here because we drew the Ash Slash Sorcerer, which never is something we really want to do in this deck. We're not regular pendulum magicians. Yep, we're gonna bait out Oracle of Zefra. We're gonna bait out the Toad with Oracle of Zefra, and then we're gonna Pot of Desires. And look at that, we drew cyber-stein because we're toxic. He's gonna effect failure that. Well, we have another backup play, so we're gonna Destrudo and make Boxia. Did I say Boxia? Yazi. We're gonna make Yazi. And he has the Solemn Strike to counteract this. So, we're gonna try one more play to just get rid of that Bahamut Shark so he can't toad us again. And hopefully reset the stage back enough. Here's a misplay. I left this man in attack position with 15,000 life points when he has 0 attack. It's a good thing we have the Ash to stop this man from doing anything. We're going to go ahead and try to link for the Light Charmer, so we can try to link climb into Celine. And he has Strike again. Of course he does. No, I think that's a misplay here. He Cosmic Cyclone us now, and he Cosmic Cyclone the Astroglass Sorcerer. If I were him, I would have waited till I tried to do something like Zefra, which is the more important piece, and Cyclone that before we can Pendulum Summon. We're gonna do a really janky Pendulum Summon with 2 Zefraths. We're gonna go ahead, and he has an Imperm. So now we're in this weird top deck war. Well, he's trying to get out of it, and I'm trying to do anything. And now I have a Destrudo, so of course I'm going to try to do Synchro plays again. And here he is with the Max C. Now, I see he only has 6 cards in deck at this point, so I decide to try to game him out. Now, this isn't a great move, but he keeps getting hand traps off top deck, so I'm really not in a position to finish him off when I should otherwise be. At this point, I'm expecting he has Imperms, Ashes, and maybe Effect Failure Maxi as his hand traps. So I'm reading this as I can go, but he has the Nibiru. This man is running 12 hand traps, one of which is Nibiru. And he lives with 1 card in deck, and is able to kill me here. Really fun game, so I thought I'd show this one off, even if I didn't play perfectly. Thanks for watching. More Yu-Gi-Oh! And Vanguard content coming up. Please like and subscribe and ring that bell to keep updated. I'll see y'all then.